Okay, hello and welcome to our week 3 async. So, this is Farzana, Christine, and Robeena's presentation. So, I decided to look into introvert students. The reason I chose this was because I feel like they're often the forgotten students in the classrooms, and our classroom aren't really designed for introvert students. They're very group work orientated. And from our last week's classwork, we actually realized there's actually very little research done about introvert students, so that just intrigued me to do some more research. So this is my mind map. It's a bit crazy, kind of how my brain works. But one thing about introverts that I highlighted was that I read here is that introvert students are different from shy students or students with anxiety issues. And often they're always misunderstood as being in one category. Introverts are actually scientifically proven that their neurobiological makeup is different. That's why they actually process things slowly. They also react to things around them a lot more. That's why they struggle to focus on one thing, and they need that secluded space to think properly. So that's really what the introvert students are. To support their learning, I think there are quite a few things. One thing that we can always do is provide quiet space in the classrooms. So allow flexible seating so the student can move around to a quiet space if he or she needs. Do not disturb zones. I've seen that in some classrooms where they have corners where, when a student goes there, you just don't disturb them. Another easy thing is just headphones. Headphones either just to act as noise cancellations, or you can put some music on it also. A very good thing that I've highlighted in the big box up on top is think, pair, share. That works for introvert students because introverts require time to think. So if you give students just a few moments to just think, and then they go in pair up and then they share, which allows the introvert students to think about to go through their own process and then share and participate. Also choose groups strategically, put in smaller groups, and also one good thing is to give roles to each person in the group. That way each student kind of has their own things to do. It allows the introvert students to do their own work as well as work in a group. And also differentiate activities. Don't just always have group work, but also have all sorts of different things. In the technology thing, actually technology works very well for introvert students. Online forums, Padlet, Satori, these are all places where introvert students can actually, it allows them to communicate their own thoughts while they are working in groups and stuff. Jam Focus, that's something I found new. It's actually a iPad app which actually gives the teacher, so you can use it in a classroom where all your students have iPads, and the teacher actually controls each student's iPads, or the students with students who are introverts, and the teacher can control exactly what they see, and the teacher can freeze all the different other apps that are on the iPad so that they only focus on one and they don't get distracted. They can also, one thing I like, the teacher can communicate privately with the students, or they can have forums where the student can speak or participate in the class, but not actually speak, but actually type it up. So that's mine. Observations is just that they're all very misunderstood. People often mistake them for shy students or students with anxiety issues, and as teachers we need to know there is a difference so we can cater them better. Connections, I myself I think is an introvert, so I found this study very interesting, found out a lot about myself. I was surprised to find that this is actually a biological makeup that is different, and it's not something that we just somehow happen. And this question is more of a general question, studies have shown that technology benefits all our students, but I'm surprised that we don't actually give our teachers enough training to use the digital tools. So So why is that? So now, Christine?
Yes. Okay, thank you so much. That was really great. Now I'll go with my part of supporting students with autism spectrum disorder in the classroom. So you can go to my map. If someone wants to scroll that, I can't really scroll down to see my map. Thank you very much. So here is everything that I have found. So as many of us know, every child with autism is different and has different needs. My favorite quote is, if you've met one individual with autism, you've met one individual with autism, meaning that, you know, they're all different. So I really wanted to do this research because my personal connection is that I was an EA for 2 years, and I tried to think back to my own experiences, and I don't really remember a lot of assistive technology in the classrooms. On my map, there's a few that were being used, but I wanted to learn more, so that's why I focused on autism. And what I found was that there are 3 big areas of focus that, well, actually 4, and they are in the blue, that teachers should focus on when they have students with autism in their classroom. And those 4 areas are assistive technology for students with ASD, so you can see that on the left. So I broke it down into different areas of focus and gave 2 examples of assistive technology. One that I definitely saw a lot in the classroom was for communication. Augmentative communication devices often use iPads. So you'd press a peck or a picture to communicate, and it would verbally exit. So the next one is that the ways that tools support students. So as I was doing my mind map, it quickly became apparent that all of these aspects are all deeply connected and integrated. So the ways that these tools support students with ASD, they improve organization skills. The big thing was social skills, because a lot of these assistive technology tools also really help with self-esteem, which is connected to social skills, self-help skills for, again, self-esteem, self-confidence, and then which is there, connected to increase in independence. So those are all connected. Teaching strategies are huge for teachers, and we should all be educating ourselves on different instructional strategies, differentiated instructions. So, focusing on different students' needs and providing them with the accommodations of assistive technology, and which is then connected, just to conclude, to classroom management skills, which is huge. And you see here what are some classroom management skills, which is then connected to the far right, which really brings in all of it together. If I had a big bubble to connect all of it, is to create an inclusive classroom environment. And this is really all what it does right here. And we as teachers, that should be our main area of focus, to create an inclusive classroom where all students can academically achieve their abilities. So surprised that there are so many technologies and different teaching strategies that I hadn't seen in the classroom, and I'm really glad that I was able to do the research and find it. So because there's so many different assistive technologies. I was just wondering, or a website or something for us to always be on top of the latest tools and apps, because they always seem like they're coming out with the news each week, it seems like. So I'm just wondering how we can keep on top of that. So that's my part. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that brings us to my part. The main focus of my research is English language learners. I know we did touch a little bit on it last class, and we sort of talked about how social networking sites really help ELL students develop their identity. So this is my map that I created using Quadlet. I try to categorize the mind map into 3 different parts. I sort of discuss some of the challenges that ELL students face. Many English language learners have feelings of marginalization. They may experience challenges when expressing their thoughts. They have difficulty with writing tasks. Many struggle to complete tasks in a timely manner. And some of the teaching and learning techniques that I found that were very helpful when working with English language learners is using verbal prompts, scribing for them. So sometimes with ELL learners, you'll find that many can actually express their thoughts vocally, but when it came down to writing down their thoughts, they struggled with that particular task. So in this case, scribing would definitely help them. Support language with visuals. Using visuals and audio to engage these students is another great strategy. Providing choice of assessment I thought was really important. Sometimes, actually all the time, many of these kids have really great ideas, and just limiting them, giving them a single task doesn't really capture their creativity or their ideas. So using multiple modes of presentation, that would be a really great teaching strategy and technique. And being daily to word walk, just to sort of help them become familiar with new vocabulary. One thing that I did find surprising when I was doing this research is that there aren't a lot of tools out there to support English language learners. Some of the ones that I found to be interesting are blogging tools. Write About the Kid Blog are some examples of blogging tools that I found. Digital storytelling is another great way to help students who struggle with expressing their ideas. So rather than having them write, you can actually just have them use a tool like even how-tos, just to sort of for them to use audio and visuals to tell their story rather than having them write it out in the conventional way. And for my observation, connection, surprise, and question, one of the connections that I made is during my first placement, I did work with 2 ELL students that were regularly withdrawn for extra support during language arts. I realized that although they were getting the extra support that they needed for that particular period, they still struggled during the rest of the day because they experienced difficulty with reading and writing. And these were skills that were sort of essential for just about every subject area. And it always left me wondering what more I could do to support these students. And after conducting research on this particular learning exceptionality, I've learned that blogging is an incredibly useful tool in helping ELL students develop their literacy and writing skills. And it's a tool that I would definitely like to try incorporating into